gentlemen, very much. And for the record, Mr. Secretary, one of my colleagues earlier asked if the GSEs have repaid the money that they've borrowed from the American taxpayer. The simple answer that my colleague tried to elicit, I think, was that the payments they've made to the government now exceed the rescue funds they received. But, Mr. Secretary, I think you agree here, this is not the real answer nor the real question. The real question is, have they repaid their debt to the American taxpayer? And for that answer, I think we can go to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York that was asked that question, and they put it this way. They said, should these figures be interpreted to mean that the Treasury and therefore the taxpayers have been repaid by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and that the two firms should now pay dividends to their regular shareholders again? The answer to that is no. The New York Fed said that taxpayers are entitled to a substantial risk premium. Government support has lowered funding costs and boosted profits, and the government has never collected the commitment fee that the government is owed from Fannie and Freddie. So the false narrative that is perpetuated is that taxpayers have been repaid. It's time to end conservatorship and return the GSEs to control of the shareholders. From your comment earlier, I assume you disagree with this narrative and agree with the conclusion of the Fed that failing to work to wind down the GSEs and give space for private capital to come in would be a colossal missed opportunity to put U.S. residential mortgage finance on a more stable long-term footing.
Yeah, Congressman, I totally agree, and I was trying to indicate in my response earlier that the risk is being borne by taxpayers on an ongoing basis, and the conservatorship is not over. I would only add one additional thing to what I said earlier, which is that the damage done to our economy by the housing crisis was far more than the simple amount of money that was put into the GSEs. And I think Americans are still healing from the pain of that financial crisis. So I think that the right thing is to do GSE reform and to get on to a new restructured system, but it is not the right time to be talking about ending the conservatorship or paying dividends.
And I think we can move forward together on that. I think that on that GSE reform concept, I've publicly endorsed reforms that would increase private sector participation in the secondary housing market, that would decrease taxpayer exposure to future losses and limit disruption to the housing market. But I think if you look at the particulars, more risk sharing is something that can be done to create a lot of space here. A common securitization platform is something that works for the GSEs and then brings in private capital to use that platform. A common residential mortgage-backed security, that would be a good start for Congress, I think, to pass this year, if I could have your thought on that.
Look, I think the items that you just mentioned are the kinds of things we've been talking about and thinking about. Obviously, there is a common security platform being built. It's something that could be expanded beyond the GSEs and be available more broadly. I think the more we're able to lay a foundation that a private securitization market can be built on, the better off we'd be.